Oh, we're rolling. Oh, what's up, folks? Hey, welcome to the first ever Day Camp Fantasy Football video recap. This will be the first time I think it's ever been done. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. It wasn't happening. It didn't happen last year. It hasn't happened yet this year. Just a little fun thing I decided to do, just because I didn't really have a recap for you last week. So anyway, without further ado, we're going to get into it. We're going to see where the divisions are at this point in the season. It's about a third of the way through, maybe a little bit less than half the way through. So yeah, we're just going to take a look. So we'll go game by game, team by team, the usual. But the Week 5 power rankings are not out yet, so we're just going to go off of scores, wins and losses. Might touch on some past power rankings, but you know. So anyway, let's get into it. So, the first game we have lined up here for today was the Flexplorers versus Week 7 Bus Duty, and that would be myself versus Nina. And this game, to be honest, was just not close at all. Sorry, Nina. Just was kind of a runaway game here. My team, the Flexplorers, was really helped out by Will Fuller. He put up 54 points, which I wasn't expecting, but Mike Williams had been underperforming lately, so I figured I might as well put him in. Looks like I made the right choice. That would have been really, really unfortunate if he put up like all those points on the bench. Other than that, Will Dissly continues to produce. I don't know why he's getting so many targets, but he is. The magic mustache of Gardner Minshew, 20 points. Joe Mixon and Nick Chubb did okay. Either way, this game was pretty solidly won, seeing that Nina put up 70 points. This was mainly because Phillip Rivers had an awful game in Denver, and just really, none of the other players performed super well. Todd Gurley had a pretty good game, but Darius Geis, his ACL is still torn, so he's not going to put up any points as long as he's starting. You have some other players you could probably put in there. Ito Smith, Mecole Hardman, Giovanni Bernard would put up more points than Darius Geis at this point, so I don't know. Interesting fun fact about this game, actually. All of Nina's players were on a team that lost, except for Zach Ertz, who was on the Eagles, obviously. I don't know, that's just kind of neat. I wonder if anyone's ever had players that all lose and still wins the game. Who knows? Maybe we'll see one today. I don't know. But either way, this matchup, wasn't very close. Nina falls to 1-4, I believe, and my team goes up to 3-2. This division, it's looking like a race for the second spot, as Adam pretty clearly has the division in hand at this point, going 5-0. I don't really know if anyone's going to be able to beat him. I play him this week. We'll have to see. It should be a tight matchup. I don't know. If I can put up 150 points again, maybe I can actually take a win against him, but so far, everyone that's played him has lost pretty badly, so yeah, things are not looking good there. Next up, we have the other matchup in our division, Thanos versus Meals on Wheels. This is a real matchup. Adam versus Mason, obviously, and Adam ran away with it. Mason did put up 120 points, which is pretty good, but Adam put up 140. Just really, this team, I don't know how they keep producing this much every single week. You got Marlon Mack, Chris Carson putting up huge numbers. Julio didn't actually do that well, surprisingly, but Juju Smith-Schuster picked it up. Cortland Sutton also picked it up. And that Patriots defense is just, they've been shutting down all the easy teams that the Patriots get to play every year to make sure that they win the division. But that's neither here nor there. This team by Adam is just really, I don't know how you stop it, to be completely honest. His bench has Miles Sanders, Carlos Hyde, Hollywood Brown, Vance McDonald, Willie Snead, all players that are, they're contributors to their team. He's got starters all over the board. He drafted really, really well, I guess. I don't know how he ended up with such a good team, but he's pretty much unanimously the number one ranked team in our entire league. He deserves that spot. He's probably going to win most of his games. He's probably going to win the division unless there's a serious injury or a serious late season collapse, like if he traded away all his players or something. I don't know. Let's look at the other side here. So Mason, Meals on Wheels. His team, it has some pretty good players, but just none of them are really performing, I think, the way that he was hoping. He did bench D.D. Westbrook, who put up 15 points in favor of Golden Tate, who had not played a game yet this entire season. Golden Tate, besides one particular wildcard game, for the last year and I guess one game, has been kind of a disappointment in terms of fantasy and for the team that he's playing for. Dalvin Cook, absolute beast. 26 points. He's just tearing it up. That's pretty much Minnesota's whole offense. I get to see him live this Sunday at the Eagles game. I'm going to be really excited about that. Hopefully we stop him, though. So, Mason, sorry. Next week I'm really going to be hoping that he puts up 0 fantasy points. Andy Dalton actually put up 18 points. I'm a little bit surprised by that. I'm not going to lie. Dalton, he's kind of a weird quarterback in terms of fantasy. I don't really know how to react to him, but either way, James White had a solid game. So did Alshon. So did Mohamed Sanu. Overall, this team is pretty good. It's a team that can definitely compete for the division in terms of that second spot. Because, like I said, I think Adam takes the number 1 spot, no question, barring some kind of outside circumstance. So it's looking like it's going to be me and Mason dueling it out at the middle of the East Division, I think. Yeah, the East Division. That should be pretty tough or pretty tight to watch. We got a 3-2 me versus a 2-3 Mason. We're gonna have to see how that goes. Either way, it's gonna be tight. It's gonna be exciting. I'm excited to see how it works out. Let's go on to the next game. For our next matchup, we have Tuesday Lake Day versus the Bus. This is a West Division matchup. Actually, all the games this week are divisional matchups, so I'm gonna stop noticing that and being surprised by that. But either way, the Bus, he's kind of on the struggle bus at the moment. 1-4, 4th in the division. He put up 137 points and still lost this week. Jackie's team put up 151 points. Absolutely crazy. Tyler Boyd had a huge day. Aaron Jones put up 50. So that explains that. Good job, Packers, by the way. Really love you guys beating the Cowboys for us. That was much appreciated. I really enjoyed watching that game. Even Dak Prescott actually had decent fantasy stats, even though he really should have had 5 interceptions, but the refs wanted the Cowboys to win. You didn't hear it from me, though. Bus, I don't know. The season's kind of spiraling for him, but if there's one thing I know about Ben, it's that he can manage to pull himself out of any tough situation. The man worked with Blazers over the summer. If that's not a real test of your grit, I don't know what is. So, we'll have to see how his season continues, but that's a tough division. So, best of luck to Bus. I think he can do it. He's got Le'Veon, he's got Duke Johnson, Diggs, who hasn't really seen much production. Eagles defense put up huge numbers against the Jets. That should not continue. Don't count on that. George Kittle, Sterling Shepard's pretty okay. Mark Andrews, etc. I think that he's got some good pieces here. Whether or not he's going to actually be able to pull it together, I don't know. Jackie's team, is pretty stacked. Scary Terry McLaurin, Aaron Jones, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyler Boyd, O.J. Howard. As much as I hate to say it, Dak seems to put up pretty good fantasy numbers, although they haven't really played. They've lost to the 2 good teams that they've played. They got to stomp the Giants, the Redskins, and the Dolphins the first 3 weeks, so maybe his production will go down. I don't know. All I know is that he does manage to throw it to Amari Cooper on occasion and get some pretty big points. Vikings defense, that's going to be a pretty tough start next week when Carson Wentz throws 8 touchdowns and 600 yards. But, if you want to start them, I won't stop you. But yeah, this was a good matchup. This was another high-scoring matchup, 151 to 137. Seems like a lot of the games this week actually had some people that put up huge numbers, with a couple exceptions that I'll get to later. So let's go on to the next one. For our next matchup, we have a pretty high-scoring affair with the Avengers losing to Take Me to Space. This being Tommy versus Topher. Tommy put up 132 points, but it still wasn't enough to take down Topher, as he put up 141.5. And this is with Jared Goff at quarterback, so something must have happened. And that something was Christian McCaffrey, putting up 52 points, which managed to carry him to the win despite Mike Evans putting up 0. Which is pretty surprising. I actually don't know if he got injured or if he literally just didn't do anything. I didn't watch that game. But Chris Chris's team, or Topher's team, Chris Kuhn's team, it's solid. I know he said he doesn't want me to roast his bench, but when you're looking at Dante Moncrief, Devin Singletary, Mike Davis, Darwin Thompson, all putting up 0 points, and then your other players are Raquel Armstead and Dante Pettis, you might have some concerns there. I'm just saying, when the bye weeks start coming, just have a heads up. I don't know. I just don't know how sustainable the success is. Maybe I'm just not a believer. Maybe you'll prove me wrong. I don't know, Chris. I'm just trying to help you here. Tommy, on the other hand, has a pretty solid team. Alvin Kamara, Tariq Cohen, both of those players get a lot of production from their respective teams. Julian Edelman had a big day. Jarvis Landry had a pretty average day. He's pretty used to that. Delaney Walker did almost nothing. Larry Fitzgerald had a very average day. Justin Tucker actually had a solid day, and so did Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan played pretty well, despite the Falcons dropping to 1-4. And yeah, so we'll see if Tommy can bring it back, take that West Division. But right now, it looks like Chris Kuhn's got it on lock with Jackie one spot behind him, I believe. Tommy's in third, Boss is in fourth. Little special message, though. I want to wish Tommy a happy birthday. He just turned 18, I think yesterday at the time of recording, maybe the day before. So yeah, I just want to wish him a happy birthday. Miss you, buddy. Love you. Come visit me. We haven't talked in a while. Yeah, but this game, pretty exciting. So yeah, it looks like Topher takes it, and we'll get on to the next matchup. This was the first of our low-scoring matchups, with VicRoy LLC getting the victory royale over Team Storsved. Creative name, Kate. Love it. Now, Kate still maintains her first-place position in the North Division, despite being 3-2. And Chris is actually third in the North Division, despite being 3-2. So that it's pretty tight. It seems like all those teams are going to have a pretty heated race by the end of the season. Chris put up 99 points and won over Kate's 89. So neither team really performed all that well. Kate had some struggles with Sammy Watkins, and Greg Olson both putting up 0 points. Michael Thomas did put up 41.2, but Wayne Gallman and Alexander Madison are not exactly the running back duo you want to be relying on. Although I suppose that makes sense when Kerryon Johnson's out, but still might want to find yourself another running back, or the season is probably going to collapse pretty soon. Although Patrick Mahomes is on the team, so really he could put up 40 points on any given Sunday. So you just never know. Chris wins despite Baker Mayfield putting up -6 points. I believe he said something about how he believed in him when he drafted him in the 3rd round. He's not looking too hot. Maybe he shouldn't have roasted Daniel Jones, who seems to be putting up better numbers than he is week by week. And this team it's decent. T.Y. Hilton, Allen Robinson is a really good receiving duo. Jimmy Graham, if he can actually catch the ball in the end zone, which he didn't do against the Eagles. Decent tight end. Calvin Ridley, always pretty good. The 49ers defense had a big day. Michael Gallup on the bench, that's pretty good. And when Saquon gets back, this team should obviously improve a whole lot. But for now, it looks like Chris is just going to ride it out until Saquon actually makes his return. Not a bad plan. He managed to get a win, so we'll have to see how the rest of his season goes. So on to the next matchup. We have rookie season versus full send. This is Sarah Ryan versus Jordan Seeger. Jordan is sitting at 2nd in the North Division. Sarah is at 4th. A couple games early on with players on the bench not scoring kind of hindered Sarah's season, despite her being the #1 power rank team in terms of talent on her team. Every week, pretty consistently. I think she's been ranked #1 every time I've put the values into the table. Obviously, that's not the whole picture, so she's not #1 in the entire rankings. But in terms of the team strength ratings, she's #1. So the team must have just underperformed here. Don't really know what to say about that. But Adrian Peterson had a bad day. So did Odell. The rest of the team played decently. Melvin Gordon didn't do anything special. Neither did Lamar Jackson. But Cooper Kupp had a big day. Austin Hooper, Chris Godwin. All three of those pretty solid contributors and a really, really good bench. This is a really good deep bench. If you're trying to trade, maybe look to Sarah's team because she's got plenty of talent to go around. Austin Eckler seems to still be getting the majority of the carries, even though Melvin Gordon's back. I don't know how you explain that, but now we have ourselves over at Jordan's team, which is just stacked with talent all around. Jordan Howard, Ezekiel Elliott, it's a super solid running back duo. It seems like we're actually using Jordan Howard now. Adam Thielen had a big day. Kirk finally figured out how to throw the ball. Amari Cooper always is a huge contributor. He's pretty much the only guy that Dak knows how to throw to. Jack Doyle, not so great. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, not so great either. But otherwise, this is a really well-rounded team. Philip Lindsay tends to put up big numbers every other week. Kirk Cousins, I wouldn't trust him, but that's up to you. But yeah, no, this team's pretty set up for success. If there's one thing I know about Jordan playing fantasy, based on last week, never count him out until the end of the season, because he may be 3-2 right now, but he could very well take the division and win the playoffs. I learned that the hard way last year, losing twice pretty brutally, despite having a higher ranked team. So you just never know. Next, we take ourselves to the South Division, where we have a matchup between Will Kennedy, also known as the best person on this entire planet Earth, versus Paul, also known as Blazer Paul, Stinky Paul, etc. Plenty of different things. So Paul actually takes this matchup, winning 122-100, and takes himself to the top of the South Division with a record of 3-2-0. And Will, unfortunately, takes a loss, dropping to 2-3-0. This is a pretty tight division, other than John being 1-4, but we'll talk about that later. So this matchup, was decently scoring. Paul put up pretty big numbers, despite Matt Breida being on the bench again. If you want to trade him, let me know. I'll trade for him. But Evan Engram, DJ Chark, another huge week. That was smart of you to decline my trade. I was really hoping I could snag him. He's Gardner Minshew's favorite target at this point. David Johnson, Derrick Henry, awesome running back duo. Jacoby Brissett, he's not a super high scorer, but he can get the job done and win games, so he's definitely going to put up decent numbers for you. Deshaun Watson for Will put up 41 points, but that was not enough to secure the victory, as the Bears' defense and special teams had a bad day. As I'm sure all Bears fans know, that jet lag will get you. Jared Cook had a good day. And other than James Conner and Tyler Lockett, yeah, that was pretty much it for this team. Tyreek Hill's still out. Jimmy Garoppolo didn't play as well as Deshaun Watson, so I really can't fault this lineup at all. Just kind of unfortunate circumstances, and yeah, really not much you can do about that. So now we're going to get on to the last matchup. Team Purple Police gets their first win of the season over 2-week Hitchhiker. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how you let this happen, Katie, to be completely honest. I kind of had this marked as a free win. I know you lost by 2.9 points. And, Devontae Adams is out. Yeah, he's out. 0 points. Not much you can do about that. Deshaun Jackson also out. I think you were one DK Metcalf start away from winning the game. But he had already played on Thursday by the time I noticed that you still had Devontae Adams in. So, I don't really know what you could have done there. But, yeah, that's a tough one. I won't lie. Devonta Freeman at least had a pretty good game. So did Sony Michel. Keenan Allen did not. Chris Conley did not. Eric Ebron did not. Carson Wentz wasn't on the field enough to actually have a good day. LaShawn McCoy had a bad time. Yeah, just really, really brutal. Mason Rudolph, before he was, hit by Earl Thomas, who, by the way, is he getting suspended? That was brutal. I don't know if I can show, if there's going to be a way for me to, maybe edit it, right here, but, I mean, geez, just speared him right in the helmet. Yeah, but the team did what they had to. Auden Tate, I guess, got receptions. Mark Ingram and Josh Jacobs. That's what it was. Josh Jacobs ran wild on the Bears defense. So thank you, Matt Nagy, for flying everyone up there on Friday instead of, a little bit early so that they could not be completely tired out there. But hey, maybe John will turn the season around. I don't know. First round pick Mitchell Trubisky's out for who knows how long, but yeah, so he gets his first win of the season, remains in the 4th in the South Division. I'm still not going to believe in a comeback here, but really disappointing outcome, I won't lie, Katie. You hate to see it, truly. But hey, John, you got an actual analysis this time instead of a fun fact, so there is that. And so now for our next segment of the show, we are going to take a caller in. This is the GM of the Meals on Wheels out of Oxford, Ohio, Mason Halm. We're going to be calling in, discussing the division race at this point in the season, get some of his insights. You know, he's been around the block a few times in the fantasy circuit. He's pretty knowledgeable about football. So yeah, we're gonna take his call in just 1 second. All right, Mason, can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah, Kamish, how's it going?
Oh, how's it going? It's really great to have you on the show.
Yeah, it's really great.
How's your day going? I can see you're just kind of chilling right now. You know.
Yeah, just out hammocking. Experiencing the great beauty of Oxford, Ohio.
Ooh, Oxford, Ohio.
As we all know, Oxford, Ohio, renowned for it's cultural, as a cultural hub of Ohio, as well as natural wonder of the great Ohio State.
Oh yeah, of course. I hear it's great this time of year.
Yeah, it really is. The trees start changing. You see the squirrels running around. It's gorgeous.
That you know what? That sounds lovely. I'm up in frigid Minnesota at the moment. You know, brr, haha.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Anyway,
let's stick up there.
Yeah, let's get talking about these divisions. You know, I consider you to be a pretty knowledgeable on football and football expert, if you will. So you know, I really wanted to bring you onto this show, really hear your opinions about what you think's going on in the league. Some of these divisions have a pretty clear winner, but some of them are pretty close. So I think it's worth talking about. So yeah, we'll start with the East, where Thanos has a pretty convincing lead at the moment. 5-0.
Yeah, 5-0. 5-0.
Yeah.
Only won at 5-0.
I don't think correct me if I'm wrong. I don't see him losing any games this season, barring injury.
Barring injury, I don't see him losing any games. You know, you always get the occasional game in the middle of November where you might not get up for it. But yeah, I mean, Thanos is. I mean, if you look at his points for, he has like 20 more than the next closest person. Take me to space.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
It's a pretty large discrepancy. So yeah, barring anything major, Thanos has a pretty clear path to the number 1 seed.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you there. I think that division is just going to come down to a race for second place, if you will, in order to snag that wild card spot. That's currently a 1-game difference, 3-2 to 2-3. That would be myself and you. As we know, pretty competitive division. I don't think Nina's winning it, to be honest.
No,
you can have me on record saying that. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, the flex position has always been very important in PPR league, and starting someone at the flex position as a torn ACL is just not a recipe for success.
Yeah, I mean, Darius Geis, I just think his production is going to go down considering that he's not on the field with that torn ACL. So, I don't know. Maybe that'll change. Maybe not. Probably not. I think he's out for the season. So,
It's kind of like I don't know, like drinking a Bang right before closing campfire.
Oh, absolutely. Like you're just not setting yourself up for success.
For some people, it gets you hyped up, but like if you're someone like Paul, you're probably gonna pass out.
Yeah, I mean that is generally what tends to happen. Not setting yourself up for success there. So let's keep moving. Let's move on to the West Division here, where Take Me to Space has a 1-game lead over Tuesday Lake Day, the Avengers, and Bus. I think this division is a lot more competitive than I think the standings would tell you. Tuesday Lake Day, Jackie's team, she put up a league record 151 points, I believe, last game. The Avengers has shown to be a high scorer week to week. The Bus, I believe in the Bus, to be honest. I'm a Bus believer.
The Bus?
Oh yeah, the Bus. I think he can pull it together. I think he might be able to get that second place spot.
I'll tell you one thing. I know the Bus personally, and when the going gets tough, I don't know if you want him in your corner.
I gotta respectfully, I gotta disagree with you there. I think the Bus has grit. I think he's got motor. That man never stops.
His motor is second to none.
Let me tell you, he takes the bathroom duty at the boys' overnight. Like that's the kind of guy you want leading your organization. So I don't know, but yeah, I think that Chris, it's going to be a real battle for those top 3 spots to get the 2 playoff spots. The Bucks could make a comeback, who knows? But yeah, that's looking pretty good. So now we take ourselves to the North, where it's a really tight division race. The top 3 teams are tied at 3-2, with rookie season not far behind with 2-3 record. And what are you thinking there? Who do you think takes that division?
Well, if you talk about Team Storsved, I mean, where do you start? I mean, she goes to, she's a product of, not arguably, I would say definitively the greatest college that there is. I mean, Sean McVay was produced here, so okay. I mean, you're talking Team Storsved and Sean McVay. That's some pretty elite company. So honestly, I don't think anyone in that division has a chance. I mean, second place gets in the playoffs, but I think if you're ever anyone but Team Storsved, you gotta just start thinking about the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next year.
Absolutely. But what does worry me a little bit about Team Storsved and VicRoy LLC in particular, that matchup was not very convincing on either side. So Team Storsved lost 89-99, and to be honest, those numbers.
Good win. 99 points.
Those numbers are just. It's not gonna take you anywhere in this league. You know what I'm talking about?
It's just not gonna cut it. I mean, you can get it done against bad opponents, but I mean, or opponents who don't play well.
You got full send. You got Jordan in your division. Yeah. You can't be putting on numbers like that. He'll make you pay for it.
And then when it comes down to the playoffs, how do you even expect you're going to even be in a game with the Thanos?
Exactly. So I don't know. I mean, full send is my personal pick for who would have the most success in the postseason. But other than that, I don't know. I mean, you can't count out rookie season. Sarah's team has been consistently ranked number 1 in power rankings based on roster. Obviously, that hasn't reflected in her win-loss record, but it has kept her afloat in the actual power rankings that are posted every week. And the Week 5 rankings are posted now. We had some pretty significant shifts in that. But, yeah, so we'll have to see with that division. I honestly think it's like an AFC South kind of toss-up. I don't know.
Comes down to the last week of the season, probably.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's going to be a divisional
points
matchup.
Here or there.
Exactly. It's going to be one big breakout play. You never know.
Patrick Mahomes doesn't play week 17.
Exactly. That could do it. So now we take ourselves to the South Division, where DC All-Stars has a 1-game lead over 2-week Hitchhiker and All Men Are Kings, and then obviously John is taking up the bottom of the division there. Katie would have the division lead if she could pull it off against not even arguably, the worst team in our league. I mean, I was surprised by that game. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I don't think anything at this point is surprising when you talk about Katie's fantasy football team. I mean, this has kind of become the usual. Don't you agree?
Elaborate on that, actually.
Well, I mean, losing to John it takes a special kind of bad. I mean, you're talking about a guy who drafted Mitchell Trubisky in the first round,
right?
I mean,
he's not even playing.
Bad as drafting Mitchell Trubisky 2nd overall, trading up to draft him 2nd overall, and then having Patrick Mahomes go later in the draft.
Yeah,
and it's almost that bad. It's not quite that bad, but it's pretty darn close.
I mean, that's like on the level of having the number 1 pick in the 2016 draft and taking Jared Goff. I saw that game. I was watching the score of that game, and I thought, no way, surely no way. And then I see the final score, and just what the hob, It
was like like the Bears in London. You just don't expect the Bears to stoop down to a team of the caliber of John Gruden's squad. But you know what? The Bears lost.
And Katie lost, and that's going to hurt her later in the season. Those are games.
That's going to hurt her. You never know. It comes down to comes down to half a game at the end of the season.
Exactly.
You look back on it like losing to John.
Especially like those divisional games we know are so important. So I think that might come back to bite her team.
And then you gotta start questioning what's going on in the locker room of that team. I mean,
you really do.
People get going. I mean,
back in the
close division race is a locker room that is not gelling correctly.
Yeah, back in high school.
Pull together.
Back in high school, I was on her team. Before we went to college, went our different ways. She was a player that played with grit. She's a GM that I thought she made smart decisions, and she was a good drafter. And with Devontae Adams out, like I think that was just the first test of the season for her, to be completely honest. And she didn't pass. Yeah. But now you do have to keep in mind though, the leader of the division right now is Paul, and I love Paul. You love Paul. We know this. We know this.
Great.
But
I just want to say, Paul and I go way back. He's a great guy.
He's a great guy.
Hair,
he's just good character, but just his ability to lead a team, I don't know. I could be wrong. I've heard anonymous reports that in the locker room, the players don't really rally around him. But I don't know. As much as a guy like Will, for example, that's a guy. Now here's a guy that you can really rally around in a locker room. I don't know if that's Paul. I think the rest of the season, he's got a pretty tough schedule, and losing Cam Newton that early in the season, this is really gonna test him. And maybe I'll be wrong, but hey, that's what we're here to do.
I think when we're talking about the top GMs of the league, you also have to consider the Texas man, Chris. I mean, we've been talking about all these gritty people, but when it comes to grit, there's one image that pops into my mind, and it is Chris Davis.
I mean, I agree. I'm not going to disagree with you. However, his team hasn't been producing. Like, do you really think that he has what it takes to make it in this league?
I don't know. I mean, if he gets in a wild card race and gets in, I think that kind of grit is what can help you upset a team like Thanos in a wild card, let's say.
You never know. I mean,
the playoffs.
Thanos, Patriots
defense
stature
in a playoff matchup. I mean, it's hard to get down. It's hard to take Chris down sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
He's a challenge.
He's got a real low center of gravity there. Like he's
balanced.
He's sure-footed. That's for sure. And that's another guy that I see being a good leader. Real good owner of a football franchise. So. Again, we'll have to see, but I think that's all the time we got. So I want to thank you for your analysis. I loved having you on the show.
Love being on the show. Love calling in.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of you and your work. So I just really appreciate it. Hopefully we keep in touch. I will talk to you later. So thank you.
Bear down, and I'll see you soon, Michael.
See you soon, Mason.